Welcome to Happy Motivation. This podcast is a space created for reflection and growth, real conversations about life, purposes, and becoming better without losing yourself along the way. I'm your host, Dre, and together we'll explore what it means to slow down, check in, and grow with intention. So wherever you are, take a breath and welcome to Happy Motivation.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the Happy Motivation Podcast. I am so glad you are here. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. You're here at the right time because this is the start of season 2. In this season, we're going a little deeper, not just motivation, but real conversations about growth, identity, and what it actually looks like to choose yourself. So I want to start with one important question. This is going to set the tone for this episode. The life you're living right now, did you actually choose it? Or did you just fall into it? And I want you to really sit with that for a second. Because a lot of us don't consciously choose our lives. We adapt to them. We adjust. We respond. We become who we need to be based on what life asks from us. Not always based on what we actually want. And so I'll tell a piece of my story because for me, this started early. Learning how to figure things out on my own, learning how to move without guidance, learning how to be independent fast. And that turned into strength. But it also turned into me becoming the one that always carries. And what I'm starting to understand now is just because something made you strong doesn't mean it's how you're supposed to keep living. Some of the things that helped you survive can quietly become the things that limit you. And because once you become that person, that reliable one, that strong one, you don't just live that way externally. You internalize it. It becomes your identity. You don't ask for help because you're used to not needing it. You don't slow down because you've trained yourself not to. And you don't choose yourself because that was never the priority. Whew. How sad does that sound, though? Like that line alone. You don't choose yourself because that was never the priority. And over time, you don't even realize it's happening because everything still looks right, but internally, you feel disconnected. And I think that's one of the hardest places to be. When your life looks aligned, but internally, it doesn't feel aligned. That's quiet tension. And it's crazy because a lot of people live there for years and years and years. And that's part of what I've been navigating lately. Not everything falling apart, but enough friction to make me stop and ask, what am I doing right now? What am I actually doing right now? And just to keep it real, like I had a moment recently where I had to really sit with myself. And not on some like deep, dramatic type of moment, just a quiet moment. And I realized I've been doing a lot, but I don't know if I've been doing what actually matters to me. Like, I've been showing up, of course, handling responsibilities, doing what I'm supposed to do. But I had to ask myself, like, am I doing this because I chose to? Or because I've gotten used to it? And that question right there, it sits with you. It really does. Because it forces you to look at your life differently, not from the outside, but from the inside. And I started noticing like how many things in my life I didn't actually choose. I just adapted to them. I adjusted. I figured it out. I made it work like I always do. But just because you can handle something doesn't mean it's meant for you. And that's where it gets real. Because when you've been that person your whole life, the one that figures it out, you don't question it. You just keep going. You're used to it. And that's when I had to ask myself, am I living intentionally? Or am I just maintaining what I built? And I learned this because maintaining a life and choosing a life is two completely different things. And another thing I was sitting with is how much I looked outward for direction, like wanting confirmation, wanting clarity, wanting reassurance, instead of slowing down enough to hear what I already know. Mm. And we've talked about choosing yourself before so many times. But I want to take it deeper here because choosing yourself isn't just about saying no. It's not just boundaries. It's not just stepping away. But choosing yourself is identity work. It's asking, like, who am I when I'm not performing for everyone else? And a lot of people don't have an answer for that. I didn't have an answer for that my entire life because we've been so used to being needed that we don't know who we are when we're not needed. Mm. And that's real. That is so real. So for me, choosing myself right now looks different. Of course, it's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's intentional. Like it's catching myself when I default to old patterns. It's questioning things I used to move through automatically. It's slowing down even when I don't want to. And I tell y'all, if anybody knows me, and I know this would be the case for most people, it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable because growth at this level, it's not about adding more. It's about unlearning. Unlearning the version of you that was built to survive, but isn't meant to lead your life anymore. So when I ask you, the life you're living right now, did you choose it? I'm not asking you to change everything overnight. Not asking you to walk away from your life. I'm asking you, telling you, to start paying attention. Really, really, really pay attention. Pay attention to where you feel aligned and where you feel off, to where you're showing up out of obligation instead of intention. Because choosing yourself doesn't always start with action. Honestly, I'll be real. Most times it starts with awareness. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. So maybe the question isn't did I choose this life? Maybe the real question is, am I ready to choose differently? I think it's a very, very strong question. Am I ready to choose differently? Mm. I appreciate you all for being here, for real. And if this is hidden for you, don't rush past it. Sit with it. Because awareness like this is where everything starts to shift. You don't have to figure it all out today. You don't have to have a perfect plan. But you do have to be honest. Honest about what you feel, honest about what's not working, honest about the version of you that you've outgrown. Because once you start seeing your life clearly, you can't go back to living it unconsciously. And choosing yourself, we know this, it's not a one-time decision. It's a daily choice. It's in your thoughts, it's in your actions. It's in what you allow and what you walk away from. And it's not always going to be easy, because sometimes choosing yourself means choosing growth over comfort, truth over what's familiar, alignment over approval. But I'll tell you this, I will tell you this, it is so worth it. Because the version of you that's waiting on the other side of that decision is more aligned, more at peace, and more real than anything you've been holding on to. So don't ignore what you feel right now. Don't brush past it. This might be the moment where everything starts to change. I appreciate you for being here. This is the start of season 2. Choosing yourself. And I'll talk to you soon.